The Formula One world is really mad about what happened between Verstappen and Russell. And it looks like everyone's going to be talking badly about Max for a long time, since we've seen him do similar things before in Budapest and Qatar last year. Will Verstappen change how he acts soon? And what do the other drivers and team bosses think about what happened in Barcelona? Now that everyone has calmed down, I think we can look at what Verstappen did more carefully and think about it better. Most of the drivers talked about what happened, and it wasn't just Norris making jokes about Mario Kart in the cooldown room. Leclerc also got into a really tough fight with Verstappen in that fight. Both cars bumped into each other for just a second. So now everyone in F1 is talking about how the Dutch driver acts. And when people talk about this situation, Lando Norris had a sneaky comment about his rival. A Sky Sports reporter asked the British driver if kids are watching and they go-karting, is this a good example? Lando said, that's not for me to say. You know the answer. When the reporter said, I think I do, but I can't say that, Lando said back, neither can I. Fights between Lando and Verstappen happened a lot last season, with Austria probably being the worst one. Norris then said he thought Max would say sorry, but then Verstappen didn't, and the British driver had to learn the hard way how tough it would be to fight for a championship against a driver like that. But that still doesn't mean it's okay to crash into other drivers on purpose. This is why George Russell thinks the four-time world champion should have been way more careful, because he made Russell and his team lose a lot of points because of that move. Talking more about this, Russell said, I don't know what he was thinking, but in the end I finished 4th and he finished 10th. It was a move that didn't need to happen. The move felt like he did it on purpose. To be honest, it's something that I've seen many times in video game racing and on iRacing. I've never seen it in real Formula One, so that was something new. It's really sad because Max is one of the best drivers in the world. It's sad for all the young kids who look up to him and want to be Formula One drivers. Russell has also talked about what Rosberg said about Verstappen, specifically whether Max should have been banned from a race for what he did. Russell said he doesn't want to be too mean, but if the move was really done on purpose, then it definitely deserves a one-race ban. He said that Formula One drivers are risking their lives every time they get into those F1 cars. So to see Max act the way he did was definitely something that makes people question his legacy in the sport. Even Toto Wolff, who really likes Max, talked about this situation. When discussing it, the Austrian said, I just heard that Max got a call to let him pass. Right, I didn't know. We thought during the race that he had a problem with his car, and that's why he was going so slow coming out of turn 4. I mean, if it was road rage, which I can't imagine because it was too obvious, then it's not good. But the thing is, I don't know what he was trying to do. Did he want to let George pass and then immediately pass him back, putting George behind the car ahead, like the old DRS games, letting him pass the right way? Wolff went on to say that whatever Max was trying to do, it wasn't nice, and that kind of behavior isn't okay in this sport. But the Mercedes team boss said he's seen similar behavior from all-time great drivers. That's why sometimes drivers like Verstappen don't realize that the world is against them. It's interesting to hear what the man thinks, especially since he saw what happened back in 2021 between Max and Hamilton in Abu Dhabi. But now that for years have passed since then, we're hearing a softer story from Wolff. Horner, however, said his team's actions were right because it looked like Max was going to get a penalty. This is exactly why the team acted the way it did, and that's what I've been telling you in this video so far. Max got a team order that he didn't follow. You might not agree with it, but you have to follow it because you're not more important than the team. Before this incident with Russell, Verstappen had a really interesting moment with Leclerc on the main straight. There was a little contact between these two, but according to Leclerc, Max tried to do something that anyone would try if they were in his place. Talking more about this, Charles said about the contact, I don't think there's anything special. Max made a mistake coming out of the last corner. I went side by side. He tried to push me onto the dirty side of the track, like I would have done, which is normal. Then once I was faster, I tried to get behind him for the slipstream a little bit. On the first move, I was willing to move a tiny bit. On the second move, he wasn't. That's what decides whether we crash or not. At the end of the day, that's racing. I don't think there's any problem with it. It's very interesting that Verstappen and Russell already had problems back in 2024, and even though they're not fighting for the same championship positions, they might fight each other more when the new rules start. Now there's a strong sign that what Verstappen did deserves a much bigger punishment than what he got, a 10-second penalty. But if we look back to Baku 2017, we see a similar story. Hamilton brake-checked Vettel before the safety car restart, which made the German driver drive next to him and bump him in a similar way that Verstappen did. This got the German driver a 10-second stop-and-go penalty. So we shouldn't act like Verstappen was trying to hurt Russell badly. Yes, what he did definitely wasn't sportsmanlike, but if you watch some highlights of Schumacher and Hamilton's careers, you'd find lots of similar things in how they raced. I'm not saying what he did was okay. You know what kind of driver Verstappen is. You know that you're going to get one heck of a fight if you want to push him off the track and take his position. And to be honest, Verstappen was right not to give up the position in turn 1. Even the FIA document says so. Car number 1 was ahead at the turn, so there was no need to investigate. Imagine being at the top of motorsport with so much at stake, and your team tells you to do something that you feel is just not right. You've won so much, you've achieved a lot of success in your career, and to see the team fail you the way they did is just terrible. But Max made sure to talk about the situation with a cooler head and said sorry to Russell and the entire Formula One world. Honestly, I'm surprised about whether we should take this seriously, because he did say he doesn't care about what others think and also about what Russell said. But in a new post on Instagram, the Dutchman wrote, "We had an exciting plan and a good race in Barcelona until the safety car came out. Our tire choice to the end and some moves after the safety car restart made me frustrated, leading to a move that was not right and shouldn't have happened. I always give everything out there for the team, and emotions can get really high. You win some together, you lose some together. See you in Montreal." I know what you're thinking first. What a good PR team Verstappen has, but he doesn't have to bow his head to anyone. We know what he can do. He just needs to fix his behavior. When he's wrong and when his team fails him, maybe talk about the situation with them. It was their call to let Russell through, so act like it. At that time, they might have known a bit more than you. Of course, looking back now, they're wrong because Verstappen was ahead at the turn, and the position he kept after going wide in turn 1 was legal. But before that, Leclerc made contact with Max while going on the main straight. Then Russell tried to bump him from the side, using this situation as much as he could. You can't expect a driver like Verstappen to act like a slow car and just let everyone pass in a situation like that. I bet he would think twice before doing such a terrible thing next time, because he now has 11 penalty points on his super license. One more and he's facing a race ban. And even though Max keeps saying he's not fighting for the Drivers' Championship, he's not going down without a fight. Russell should have known this better than anyone else. Although honestly, even if he did know, there was nothing he could have done to stop Max's move. With all of this in mind, what do you think about the Verstappen-Russell crash? And do you think the 4-time world champion should get harsher punishments in the future for similar incidents? Let us know in the comments below. And once you do that, make sure to click on the video that's showing on your screen right now.